Hey everybody, I'm Benjamin, aka The Terrible Australian at supermaster.com, and welcome to my video review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. So let's get right into it. Now I should start off right off the bat, I actually didn't mind the 2014 live action reboot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I actually thought it was a rather fun film. But at the same time though, it was a pretty flawed one and there were a lot of problems with it. Particularly, they sort of changed up sort of the origins and that of the Ninja Turtles and Shredder and Splinter and all that. Which I wasn't really that much of. It didn't offend me, but I wasn't really that much of a fan of those changes. But that being said, there were a lot of elements in it that I really liked, and like sort of the action and also and they also sort of captured the personalities of the Ninja Turtles really well. So when it came to the sequel, I was actually really excited to see it because not only was it sort of, they're gonna, from what I was hearing, that they were sort of going more for what worked in the first film, but also adding a whole bunch of new stuff and bringing in elements from sort of different types of Ninja Turtle lore, like bringing in Casey Jones and Bebop and Rocksteady finally, and also Krang to it as well, and kind of all the getting to see some of these characters on the big screen, particularly with Bebop, Rocksteady, and Krang on the big screen for the first time in live action form was really exciting to me. And also the trailers and all that looked a lot of fun. So, but the question is the sequel better than the first, or is it worse than the first? I will say this, in a lot of ways this film is a massive improvement over the first film, but at the same time it does suffer from its own problems as well. But I will state off right off the bat, I think it's a really fun film. I think if you're a big Ninja Turtles fan, and I wouldn't say I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan, but I would say I'm a very much, at least compared to other Ninja Turtle fans I know out there, but I grew up with the Ninja Turtles. I've always been a big fan of them, and I have to say this film really sort of really did a great job at sort of capturing sort of what made the Ninja Turtles such beloved characters. And I really like that in a lot of ways it kind of felt like watching the original 80s cartoon as well, in terms of having all the fun and the action and sort of all the dynamics between the characters as well. And I like that the Ninja Turtles, like they're sort of the Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael, and Donatello, their sort of dynamic as brothers is explored even more so in this one, and I think the actors who play them, who I can't figure their names off the top of my head at the moment, all do a really great job with their roles, and I love sort of that, kind of the relationship between all four of them is done really well in this sequel. And of course, the action is definitely even better as well, and a lot of them are extremely well directed. Dave Green, who took over from Jonathan Liebesman as the director for the sequel, does a really good job at sort of capturing sort of all the things that we love about the Ninja Turtles. And I know that he's a big fan, particularly of the 80s cartoon show, and you can definitely see that in this film. And also the cast do a pretty solid job. Like I said, besides the Ninja Turtles, kind of like the newest additions, like Tyler Perry as Baxter Stockman and Sheamus, and I'm trying to figure Gary Anthony Williams, who played Bebop and Rocksteady, and all just nail the characters. Like they just capture them so well. And even ones who are sort of replacing actors who were come in sort of replacing actors who were in the first film, like Brian T is playing Shredder in this one. How Shredder went from being an old man to a young man in the course of 2 films, I have no idea, but I digress. And and everyone plays their roles extremely well, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a really fun film that really sort of, it is very cartoonish and mindless, but it delivers what it set out to be by being a fun Ninja Turtles film. That being said though, the script does have a lot of problems, and there were a lot of moments where I'm thinking, oh man, this is, I'm not going to say the movie is smart in particular way. It is a dumb film, but there were moments when I was like, oh man, this is even dumber even for a Ninja Turtles movie. Particularly sort of the stuff with certain plot points and sort of some of the subplots in the film. And I think one of the main issues I have with the script is that it tries to do too much. Like, besides you got the Ninja Turtles themselves, but also April, Splinter, and also introducing all these new characters. I mean, you got Shredder, Baxter Stockman, and all that, and even also adding sort of the newest characters like Bebop and Rocksteady, Krang as well. Like, there's so many subplots and characters going on in this film. It just feels like it's a bit too cluttered, and it just feels like the movie kind of just rushes through its story. Like, it's an almost 2-hour film, but I kind of feel like this film should have been a bit longer, to be honest. Maybe 10, 15 minutes, because it just goes at such a lightning fast pace throughout all of it. It just, you kind of just wish the film kind of would stop and take a bit of a breather. And I mean, for example, like when Shredder meets Krang for the first time, you would fit it. That whole sequence just feels so rushed that it's almost as if like they already knew each other anyway. But this is actually the first time they've ever met, and Shredder's reaction just doesn't seem like the kind of reaction you would expect from somebody who's meeting an alien for the first time. So, like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I feel like it is very muddled in that regard. And there are some moments where I just found kind of really laughable in a not good way in terms of plot points and all that. And of course, like, Stephen Amell as Casey Jones, I like Casey Jones as a character. And I think Stephen Amell does the best what he can do here, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like he's a bit miscast in the role. Like, I know they're going for a sort of a different take with Casey Jones in this one, but I don't. It just didn't really work for me. I think it's really more that Stephen Amell just doesn't really suit the character, at least how I've always remembered the character to be. But that being said, like, it is a very silly, it's a very dumb film in a lot of ways, and at times even more dumb than more so. But at the same time, it's mindless fun, and it set out to do what they wanted to do with the film, to be an enjoyable Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, and in that regard, it succeeds in that regard by delivering the fun and all that. I kind of wish the script could have been a lot better and a little less muddled and rushed, but you know. But at the end of the day, it was a decent time. So if I have to give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows a rating, I give it a solid 3. So yep, that's the end of my video review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all later. See you everyone. Bye.